Hi, Brycey. I went over your background information. So I see that you're 15 years old and you have been stuttering since you were 2. What you really struggle with is your part word, your whole word, your syllable interjections when you're stuttering. Today, I'm just going to ask you a few questions and we're going to go over a lot. And I'm going to give you some assessment protocols to have you fill those out so I can get a better understanding of where you're at. I'm going to do an oral facial exam with you and a cranial nerve exam. And then I'll give you the 3 fluency protocols, ask you a couple questions. We'll set up some assessments. We'll set up some treatment plans for you, and then we can go from there. Perfect. So you are 15. Do your parents think that, what are the behaviors? Like, how do you feel when you are in a big group of people and you start to stutter? Do you feel nervous, or you just try to get your word out and you just keep talking?
I feel nervous.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it says your stuttering has gotten better since you were 3 because you have seen a clinician. You saw Steve Skelton a couple times, and then he referred you to me. So that's good. We will go over that. When you were with your other clinician, did he say that the course of stuttering and the variability of it, did he say you were improving? Did he say it was getting worse? Did he say anything?
He said it was getting better and then it got worse.
Okay. Better. All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you, this is a stuttering variability assessment protocol. This one just explains how you feel in certain situations while performing like a speech task, okay? So during a telephone conversation, do you typically speak fluently, stutter, or do you feel anxiety during a conversation?
I typically stutter.
Okay. When you introduce yourself to someone, your boss, supervisors, do you typically stutter, speak fluently, or you get anxiety?
I typically experience anxiety.
Conversation with friends, is it easier to just talk fluently with them?
Yes.
And then when you get mad and angry and you have a heated discussion, how does that go?
I typically stutter.
And then when you talk to infants and babies, do you stutter fluently?
I stutter fluently.
When you justify your actions towards someone, do you typically speak fluently? Do you typically stutter? Or do you get anxiety with that one?
I typically speak fluently.
All right. And when you're talking about something and you're narrating a personal experience to someone, how does...
Typically stutter.
When you're giving directions, when the eyes are on you, how do you feel about that one?
I typically stutter.
Okay, asking for directions. When you say something in a hurry, do you typically stutter? Like your brain's moving faster than your words? Okay, or how about ordering in a restaurant?
I get anxiety.
And then giving a quick answer to a question?
I get anxiety.
All right, and how about singing a song? Doing something that makes you happy?
I typically speak fluently.
All right, and how about singing a song? Oh, wait, sorry, we did that one. Buying a ticket at a counter.
Typically stutter.
Okay. Raising a question in a group discussion, like raising your hand and answering a question.
Typically stutter.
Okay, asking for a specific product at a store. When you ask someone like where something is.
I typically stutter.
Okay. Talking with your nieces and nephews.
I tend to speak fluently.
When you're talking to boys or your dad, how does that make you feel? Do you have anxiety? You stutter fluently? Stutter, or do you talk fluently?
Talk fluently.
Okay. And then you ask for a pay raise, so you're asking something from your boss or your manager. Does that make you nervous?
Yeah, I get anxiety.
And then when you read out loud in front of a group, how does that one make you feel?
Anxiety.
Okay, so that was the stuttering variability assessment. So that's just for me to look back, and when we go through our sessions, to see how you progress, how you don't progress, and if you don't, like what we do to go forward from that. So for treatment, you will be seeing me like 2 times a week, and we'll be working on certain things. I can, we'll have some like pictures, we'll have other little, not toys, but things you could play around with that could potentially help you with especially with the part word and the whole word, and then like your syllable interjection and how you hold the long first syllable. So when you're at school, does your stuttering, is it really high? Is it low? Is it in and out? Or just depends who you're around?
I would say depends on who I am around.
Okay. All right. And then in your personal life, does it depend who you're with and what you're doing? Or do you get more anxiety when you're by yourself?
No, I don't get anxiety by myself. More when I'm around people.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. And then some conditions, what are some things you would like to fix for yourself? What are some things you would like to improve with your stuttering through these treatments and through these sessions that we are going to be having?
Being able to slow down my thoughts and to be able to talk to people more often without stuttering.
Perfect. Do you feel any negative emotions
Yes, sometimes.
towards it? Okay. Right. And then, since you have been stuttering since you were a little girl, has it gotten easier to cope and deal with it, or has it gotten harder since you're becoming older and you're closer to being an adult?
It's gotten harder because I am more aware of the problem.
Okay. And then that's why you also asked your parents I see here, you asked your parents to start going to therapy because you're being made fun of in school and being bullied. Okay. All right. So we are going. Some behaviors to avoid, I think, when you have a lot of thoughts in your head all at once, to slow down. You can stop talking if you want. Slow down, analyze those thoughts, and really try to piece together word by word with what you want to say. So behaviors to avoid would just be not trying to say everything at once. We'll work on slowing down our words. And we can even take a few seconds, like take a break, take a pause for a few seconds, and then start figuring out what we want to say. All right. And so for your follow-up assessment, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks. And from there, we will start doing our sessions with our pictures. We will start doing our avoidance behaviors. We'll work on those, the slowing down our words, and we're pausing to think about what we want to say. I'm going to, here is the avoidance behavior assessment. I'm going to ask you each of these questions, and you're going to tell me if you do avoid it, you infrequently avoid it, or it's frequently avoided. Saying one's own name. 0, 1, or 2.
0.
Okay. Responding to roll calls.
0.
Speaking situations and you move away from a situation.
1.
Ordering in restaurants.
1.
Speaking on the telephone.
1.
Introducing yourself to someone.
1.
Giving personal phone numbers or addresses.
2.
Lots of numbers. Speaking in front of the class or a social group.
2.
Read aloud in front of a class.
2.
Answering questions in the classroom.
1.
Saying the names of family members.
0.
Asking for directions when lost.
1.
And then, so these are strategies used to avoid stuttering. Do you depend on others for communication needs? You can say, let's see, coughing. So depending on others for communication needs, you don't depend, you kind of do, you do a lot.
1.
Gestures instead of speaking.
0.
All right, having a family member ask for something in a store.
1.
Pretending not to hear a question.
0.
Pretending to be thinking when questions are asked.
1.
Pretending not to know the answer.
0.
Pretending ignorance of a word when stuttering is likely.
2.
Whispering.
0.
Talking in a soft voice.
1.
Talking in a loud voice.
0.
Talking in an impersonated tone.
2.
Talking with an unusual physical posture.
1.
All right, talking with an exaggerated articulation.
1.
All right, and then avoidance of conversational partners, so strangers. Do you avoid them?
2.
Family members,
0.
bosses,
1.
boys,
1.
colleagues,
1.
friends,
0.
neighbors.
0.
All right, and then avoidance of certain words. Do you substitute one word for another?
2.
Beating around the bush instead of saying something directly.
1.
Pretending not to know a word.
1.
Refusing to say a particular word.
2.
And saying this thing and that thing frequently.
1.
And then avoidance of talking about stuttering. Switching the topic when stuttering is mentioned.
1.
Leaving the room when conversation is initiated on stuttering.
0.
Getting upset when asked about your stuttering.
1.
Refusing to talk about other people's reactions towards stuttering.
2.
Refusing to talk about colleagues or bosses' reactions to stuttering.
1.
You're unwilling to talk about stuttering because of your emotional experiences.
1.
All right. Avoidance in general. Keeping quiet when when a question's asked.
2.
Avoiding discussion on conversational issues.
1.
Controversial. Sorry. Not taking part in social conversations.
1.
Avoiding eye contact during conversation.
1.
And reducing the amount of talking in general.
2.
We have one more assessment and we will be done. All right. Give an example of how the... Okay, so I would like you to, so I'm going to give you an example. I would like you to know how your fluency problem has affected your life. I would like you to read the item in this manner. With my ability to talk to my family, I am satisfied, somewhat dissatisfied, or dissatisfied. And then place a check mark in the column for your answer. With my ability to talk with your family, do you feel,
somewhat satisfied.
say, and then you'll say this sentence, and then you'll say my friends.
With my ability to talk with my friends, somewhat satisfied.
Okay.
With my ability to talk with my colleagues, somewhat dissatisfied.
Okay.
With my ability to talk with strangers, somewhat dissatisfied. My ability to talk with my supervisors, somewhat satisfied. With my ability to talk with members of the opposite sex, somewhat dissatisfied. With my abilities to talk with authority figures, somewhat dissatisfied.
Mm-hmm.
With my ability to talk with my neighbors, satisfied. With my ability to order in restaurants, somewhat dissatisfied. My ability to talk over the phone, satisfied. My ability to ask for directions, somewhat dissatisfied. My ability to introduce myself, somewhat satisfied. With my ability to give my name and telephone numbers to others, somewhat dissatisfied. With my ability to discuss controversial social or political issues, dissatisfied. With my ability to give a talk in front of a group, dissatisfied. With my ability to
With
my ability to enjoy social relationships, somewhat dissatisfied. My ability to enjoy personal relationships, somewhat satisfied. My ability to achieve my educational goals, somewhat satisfied. My ability to perform my job, satisfied. With my ability to achieve promotions in my job, somewhat dissatisfied. My ability to generally achieve my life goals, somewhat satisfied. With my feelings and thoughts about myself, somewhat dissatisfied. With my love of self-confidence, somewhat dissatisfied. And with my general quality of life, somewhat satisfied.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm going to do, last thing, a oral facial exam. So I'm going to point to somewhere on your face. Turn towards me. I'm going to point to somewhere on your face. If I point here, I'm going to, if this is obviously your forehead, cheekbone, temples, but you'll say right temple, left temple. Just tell me where I'm pointing on your face.
Forehead. Left temple. Left cheek. Chin. Forehead. Right temple. Right cheek. Chin. Nose. Jaw.
Perfect. Okay, Bryceland, I will see you back in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.